There's always a critique when it comes to particular men, or all men in general in this case, especially in this era, but especially a certain group of men who want to practice their God-given rights, their individual liberties, their civil rights, and ultimately their autonomy. And it always comes from the same group of individuals that we've talked about ad nauseum on this channel. However, we won't list the individuals today because I think if you've watched all my videos, you would know who those individuals are, my videos, and others who explain this in very succinct detail. But why do they do this? Why do they insist that even if they don't share the same sentiment and desire of certain thinking men to leave their current predicament, why do they feel as if instead of just leaving those individuals be and having nothing to say one way or the other, they feel as if they need to unprovokedly go in and monitor, judge, critique, and in some cases disrupt the activities of men who want to practice such endeavors? In this video, I'll specifically address on the reasons why the anti-blackmail autonomy crowd wants to prevent black men, particularly thinking black men, from practicing their options, whether it's outside the community, overseas, dealing with women of another race, or dealing with people of another community. But hopefully, men of other races can use this video as a reason and a guide to have their questions answered on if and when their autonomy is being questioned at best and prevented at worst. The first reason, particularly for individuals who want to prevent thinking black men from practicing their own autonomy, is that these individuals who represent the majority of the sentiment of the community want the thinking black men, the black men who were deemed unworthy in certain aspects, to be the cleanup men for the community. And if you don't know what cleanup man is, that's a definition that we've been using throughout the manosphere for some time. But as far as the definition, the cleanup man is essentially the individual who gets to clean up the mess of what the majority of the community has done. Meaning, in short definition, the beta bucks. These are the individuals who are designated to bear responsibility for the mistakes that certain other individuals, whether it's the alphas of the community or certain females of the community, make and the messes that they create. The community is designated so that if you are not seen as select alpha or have enough swag and juice, that you will be deemed a cleanup man. You are expected to, regardless of any treatment that you've received, mostly negative, you are expected to be there once SHTF has occurred, once ground zero has cleared out, and once the party is over. In short, you weren't invited to the party. But the community expects those men to be the ones who clean up after everyone's done. The second reason, and this sort of goes into that cleanup man, but one of the more specific examples of being a cleanup man is being a baby bucks for the scraggle-daggle. Now, this, in clear definition, is basically being the beta male provider for women who are unruly and who play a big role within the demise of the current state of ebony America today. Now, I will state this again, that not all ebony females, even American ebony ones, are scraggle-daggles, which hopefully I have addressed those who have that sentiment in my prior videos about those who are red pill for Keisha but blue pill for Becky. But as far as the daggles are concerned, who in many cases comprise the majority of any ebony community within the United States, a lot of these individuals, a lot of these ladies feel as if that these gals can make the most reckless mistakes in their teens and 20s and not even 30s while expecting and going after individuals who they consider alpha males. We all know the alpha Rex thing. While at the same time, when they hit the wall, quote unquote, or when they feel as if they've done enough partying or feel as if they're ready, that's when they can go to certain men to basically bail them out of, in many cases, their mistakes, or at the very least just bail them out from a possibility of a lifetime of Spencerhood. And these are the guys who are called the beta bucks. The reason why they're called the beta bucks is because these are the individuals who previously were denied such youthful pleasures by the scraggle-daggles or the select females of the community, only to be called on when no one else, including the alpha men that they had their fun with, would bail them out or can bail them out. The third reason why a lot of individuals who are against the anti-black male autonomy crowd is that they're trying to get brownie points from that scraggle-daggle. Now, the community has various ways of dealing with the mating game. You have individuals who will actually be in the streets and they seem to have no problem getting the best of the community's finest women. Then you have those who imitate it, who, for the most part, they'll get some young and dumb and impressionable women to believe that they are about that street life until they get caught up in the crossfire or they get exposed and they eventually deal with the drama that a lot of people in this manosphere complain about. Yeah, we have plenty of those. And then you have the outright guys who just don't care at all. And they just want to escape the community, have their own autonomy, date outside the race, date non-ADOS black women, and who I actually support. If you are in that camp, do not let anyone try to convince you that you need to conform to the ways of the community in order to get any sort of satisfaction. Keep on keeping on. And there are also those who simp their way into bargaining and getting on the best side of scraggle-daggles, mostly through monetary means. And to those guys, I say, fine, if you want to go 50-50 and you want to go tricked, that's whatever, that's on you. But there are those who are way more nefarious about their mating strategies and getting in the best when it comes to dealing with scraggle-daggles. And a lot of people in the hood will call this dirty macking, but we just simply define it as individuals who are trying to get brownie or white knighting. But those two things, which in this context is basically a bunch of what I truly like to call maggles, baby's kids, dozers, whatever, who instead of using any of the previous tactics I listed, they will actually go after the particular group of men who are trying to lead the community and better their own lives in order to impress the scraggle-daggles. Now, a lot of these individuals, they have no other way in order to get the attention and get in the graces of the scraggle-daggle. And as a result, these individuals play the 21st century role of a snitch. You know how an individual who would try to lead the plantation genuinely on his own efforts and not having anyone try to save him, and not having any women trying to save them. That's a whole other subject for another day. But remember how back in the day, back in the plantation, I hate to use this analogy, but you would have someone who legitimately tries to escape on their own, only to have someone within the plantation snitch on them. And these individuals who are trying to get brownie points from the scraggle-daggle essentially are the 21st century snitches. These guys are some of the worst guys that there are of all mankind. These guys are even lower, in my opinion, than the incels. At the very least, the incels, they may complain and they may put in arguments on why you can't improve and you can't do anything, everything is just predetermined. But at the very least, they will not try to snitch on you in order to impress anyone in general. But these individuals, they will do anything and everything in order to get the brownie points from the daggle. And you have a lot of these guys in the manosphere insofar as posing to be content creators or members of the manosphere. Now, this is something that the black manosphere specifically needs to put a check under. Yes, I've stated multiple times about getting a lot of these extremists who want to wish all black women harm out of the black manosphere. But along with those individuals, you need to check these snitching. You need to get these kiss-assers out of here as well, because they pose a serious threat when it comes to 1, black male autonomy, and 2, black men expressing their issues and concerns. The fourth inspiration on the anti-black male autonomy crowd is how these individuals wallow in misery that they can't get away from. Now, I have to explain this one in the sense in that a lot of people who are in the community are just miserable pricks. They in many cases due to their own actions or inactions, have mediocre lives at best. And they feel as if the more the merrier. In a nutshell, the crabs in the bucket scenario. And these individuals want just as many people to be in that bucket or barrel as possible. And this is for one reason, one simple reason, so that they won't have to look themselves in self-reflection and face the fact that they are failures. Because if you lower the barrier of that bucket, or if you just make it easier for certain men or help guide them out the bucket, then you're going to have less crabs. And then the fewer crabs that there are, the more likely it is that these individuals who want to practice the crab in the bucket scenario will have to reflect on their own lives to see how lazy they are at best or how big of failures they are at worst. This is all in order to avoid self-accountability at all costs. And the more individuals who are in that metaphorical bucket and are suffering along with them, the less they have to question their own decisions that they made throughout their lives. This is the similar reason why a lot of channels, particularly in the Black manosphere, that talk about Black victimology and damage control Black pathology are successful almost instantaneously. These channels are experts in avoiding individuals to hold themselves accountable for their own actions. And the fifth thing that these anti-blackmail autonomy individuals are inspired by, and the reason why they go out of their way to shame individuals who want to practice their own autonomy, and this is specifically for the men here. These men, and this is a male thing, I can't even put this on the women in this case, but the Maggles, the Bebe's kids, the Doziers, a lot of these guys just can't get with bad non-black women. That's all it is. They can't get with a bad Becky. They can't get with a sexy Selena. They can't get with a feminine Feilun. They can't get any of those kind of females. Hell, they can't even get with a lovely Lupita. I mean, these guys are finished. These guys are done. These guys know in their heart of hearts that all they're destined for is the communitized, select, which, I mean, that's after all the Pookies, the select guys, the Jawline, Day-Days of the community, after they've had their fun, because guess what? The educated, you know what, isn't the only one who has to wait in line. It's these mediocre Negroes in the community who want to take all of these maniacal tactics on suppressing and preventing thinking black men to practice their own autonomy. And these guys, in reality, a lot of them are just sniveling sons of bitches. And they won't have the gall to go up against the select men in the community, you know, the ballers, the Pookies, the street cats, whatever. They won't go after the athletes, obviously, especially if they play football or basketball. They won't go after the guys even hanging out on the block, because some of them actually admire or are or were guys on the block. I mean, you got it. Anyway. But these individuals realize that if you got rid of just black women as an option in general, these guys' lineage would be done. Hell, if you got rid of mediocre daggles, these guys' lineage would be done. Because black women who are worth a damn are not checking out these guys. And these guys feel as if I can't get them, no one can. And that especially includes the thinking black man. I want you guys to go up next time when someone is against your autonomy, when someone is against you dealing with anything outside the community, even if it's a Caribbean or African or black Latina chick, we had to specify that because of the community. But anytime someone is against you like that, you give them these 5 talking points. Hell, you don't even need to give them these 5 talking points. Give them the last one in order to really trigger them, particularly if it's one of these Maggle guys out here. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I'm aware of the anti-blackmail autonomy crowd, whether it's from the far right, the alt-righters. And when it comes to the alt-righters, here's the 6th reason, particularly for them, why they're against the anti-blackmail autonomy crowd. It's that they know in a truly free market dating society, they would not be able to compete with black men who are on point. We all know that. There's a reason why a lot of these guys who are in the alt-right are clinging onto that America flag or Confederate flag, but will refuse to go to any other predominantly white country on this planet. They know what time it is. They know the market is more fair. They know that a lot of these other countries, hell, even some of the countries that a lot of these alt-righters' ancestry comes from, that they wouldn't even stand a chance. That some random-ass quote-unquote Negro would be able to spread his lineage way easier and with more success than the so-called alt-righters of the quote-unquote master race. Well, as far as that's concerned, anytime you have one of these alt-righters or these feminists, Daggle or otherwise, or these pro-wax, these ho-ho-teps, or just maggles who are just against black men dating outside the race, or leaving the community, or being his own individual, just give them these talking points. Everyone else out there, always bet on X.